Hello there, welcome once again to my YouTube space. My name is Richmond Yamedo and this is Tutorials Academy. I'm continuing with the beginner PowerPoint series, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the transitions tab. In previous videos I've spoken about the insert tab, the design tab, the home tab, and now I'm going to be talking about the transitions tab. I'll play something for you to watch, something that I made using the transition tab, and at the end of this series I'm going to be teaching you how to make the same thing using the transitions tab. So stay with me, and I promise you, as usual, you are going to enjoy every bit of this content in this series. Thank you. Enjoy. Thank you for staying with me through the introduction of this video. Just like I mentioned earlier, the animation you viewed was made just using the transitions tab and a bit of insert tab, yes, a bit of insert tab as well as home tab, but majority of the work was done using the transitions tab, and I'm going to be walking you through what the transitions tab entails and how you can also use it to make simple but interesting animation like what you viewed earlier. Yes, so I'll just get down to business and not do too much talking. This is the animation and the transitions tab. This is the transitions tab. From this end, kindly follow my mouse pointer. Please follow my mouse pointer. From this end of this gray box, from this end to this end, is what is called the transitions tab, right? It's a ribbon tab. This part is the ribbon tab. The name is transition, so transitions tab. Under the transitions tab, we have transitions to this slide group, preview, and then timing, right? Now, under the transitions to this slide group, we are given about nearly 50, let me say 50, nearly 50 transitions you can make use of. You have the morph, fade, push, wipe, split, review, cut, and a lot, right? All of these are very powerful transitions that you can leverage upon to get the best out of PowerPoint, especially the transitions tab, right? So I'm going to click on a few and then play them or preview them for you to know how they look like, right? So let's go with push. Now once you click on a certain transition, right, a certain transition option, and then you want to see how it's going to look like on your slide, you click on preview. You see, once you click on preview, it will show you how it's going to transition from one slide to the other slide, right? Let me do a little bit of example for you to see. Duplicate the slide. I'll insert an image here. Any image. I'm just doing something for you to see. Put this one here, and then on this slide I'll insert another image. Right. Because I've applied the push transition onto the slide already, so I'll click on slideshow, and then you see how the push transition looks like. You see it, very nice and interesting. So that is the push transition. We have wipe transition. We have wipe transition. You can click on wipe transition. If you don't like the push transition, click on wipe, and then you see that's the wipe transition. We have so many transitions, so many. We have morph. One of my favorites, the morph transition, the one I usually use. I use the most morph, and a little bit of push. Yes, and then fade as well. But there are a lot. We have peel off, page curl. Let's use page curl and then see. You see it. Yes. Along the series, I'll be making some videos on how to use each of these transitions very well, how to make a best out of them, because some of them you would have to do a little bit of settings or a little bit of adjustments before you can get the best out of them. For instance, the morph transition, right? If you want to get the best out of morph transition, you would have to do a little bit of adjustments on your slide. So I'll do a video on that. I'll do a video on the push. I'll do a video on page curl and some of them, right? The ones that you need a little bit of adjustments to get the best out of. Yes, so that is all for transition to this slide group. You can do a practice on how to do a practice on each of these transitions and see how they look like, a preview of how they look like. This is cut. We'll just shift to the next page without doing any form of skirmishes. Yep. So that is it for preview, and then slides to this, transitions to this slide. Next we have the effect option, right? If you noticed earlier, I chose split, and then when I clicked on slideshow, right, it started splitting from the middle. Did you notice it started splitting from the middle? Yes. The reason being is the effect says vertical out. You see it's vertical out. If I change the effect to vertical in and I click on slideshow, it will start the transition from the outer the left and right side instead of the middle. Instead of starting from the middle and going out, it will start from out and come in. Let's see. Did you see? It started from outside and then transition to the middle, right? Unlike previously when it did from the middle and then outside. It's because of the effect. So you can use the effect option to choose how you want the transition to be, right? Now this is push. Previously it was push from bottom. If I choose push from left and I click on slideshow, it will push from the left, not from the bottom. You see? Yes. And we have push from top as well. Click on it, push from top. It will push from the top to the bottom, right? Some of these effects, some of these transitions have effect options, some do not, right? Some do not. We have airplane right, airplane left. Let's click on slideshow and see what airplane does. You see it? That is airplane right, and we have airplane left. The airplane will fly to the left, not the right. You see it? Nice one, very good. Some of them do not have options. I'm looking for one that doesn't have options. Yes, like the curtains transition, it doesn't have any effect option, right? It's a transition that doesn't have any effect option, and this is how it looks like. It looks like a curtain. Wow, very simple, very nice, very unique. The ones that do have options, you would have to set the options very well to get the best out of it. Some options are not left, right, up and down. Some will be objects, word and characters. Like for instance, the morph transition, which I spoke about. There's a more to morph transition than just selecting it and then choosing the options, right? There's a more to morph transition. If there are no text, there are no objects, this is how the morph transition is going to be. But the moment you add text, you add shapes and then a few other things, the morph transition is going to be something else. It's one of the most powerful transitions to use in PowerPoint, right? And it's very nice, very simple and very unique. So that is all for the effect options. Now let's talk about timing. And at the timings group, we have sound, duration, apply all, and then advance to the next slide, right? Now if I click here, right, let's start with the sound first. And if you want to add a sound to your transition, right, as you can see, there are no sounds to this transition. If you want to add a sound to your transition, you click here and there are lots and lots of sounds you can use here. Let's use applause because you use let's use applause and then the curtains transition and then see how it looks. That is all. Very simple and then very unique. Right? You can choose from all these sounds depending on which one you are using. Let's use push transition and then use the push sound. Where is the push sound? Push sound. And then play it and see how it looks. Easy. Very nice. So depending on the animation you are using, you can add sound if you want. You can leave it like that if you want. You can add. Then you can choose other sounds where you can download a sound from online or anywhere and then add it to your animation. For instance, I have a sound here which is like a bell. As I click on it, it's just a bell sound. One that I use for the animation I played earlier. Yes, so that is it for sound. You can just add sound depending on which one you want. Right. Let's say you've added a sound to this particular slide. Let's say you have a sound like applause to this particular slide, right? And then you want to transition to boom, right? Or you want to stop the sound of the previous slide, you can use stop previous sound. That is all. Right? We have a sound and then it stops the previous sound. Without stopping the previous sound, I think if you don't stop the previous sound, it will play to the next slide. But if you use stop previous sound, once you click on it, it stops the previous sound. Once it transitions to the next slide, the previous sound stops. Yeah, so that is the sound option up there. You can use loop onto next slide or onto next sound, meaning it should repeat until the next sound. Right. That is if I've added a sound to this particular slide. Let me do loop onto next sound, then add a sound to this particular slide. Okay, there's a sound. Drum roll, right? Yes. Now when I start the slideshow, we keep playing until I transition to the next slide, then it stops. That is it for the sound option. Now the duration. The duration talks about how long the animation should last. Now it's at 1 second, right? If I increase it to like 10 seconds, enter, and I play the slideshow, it will take 10 seconds for the push transition to finish. You see it. Right, it will take 10 seconds. So the duration you determine what seconds it should take for the animation to play. You get it? Yes. So that is all for duration. If I reduce it to 0.001 and I play the transition, it will move very fast. That's all. You see it? Yes. Very fast. Within 0.01 second, then it's done. Yep. So that is it for duration. And then we have apply to all. Right? What does apply to all do? Now when I do a settings, or when I do settings on this particular slide as to which sound I want to use and then the duration I want to use, let's say 1 second, and I click on apply all, it will apply these settings to all the slides I'm working on. So if I click on the next slide, you see that sound there has changed from drum roll to applause, and then the duration has changed from 10 seconds to 1. Oh, sorry, 0.01 to 1 second. Do you understand? If I change the settings on this slide too as well, laser, and then the duration to another time, see 4 seconds, and then I click on apply to all, and then I go back to the first slide, the sound will change from applause to laser and from 1 second to 4 seconds. Yes. So that is the apply all feature. Apply all simply means it should apply the settings of the timing to all the slides, the settings of the timing on one particular slide to all the slides. So you should change the settings on all the slides to the same as the one you are working on. Yes, so that is all for the apply to all. And then we have advanced slide. Advanced slide. Now, right now it's on mouse click, meaning if I play the slideshow, sorry, no sound. 1 second. Pardon me for that. Meaning, if I start this slideshow, right, until I click my mouse, this slide will not change. It will be on this particular slide until I click my mouse. Once I click the mouse, it changes. Do you understand? That is the meaning of on mouse click. But if you don't want it to be on mouse click, and you want the slides to move automatically, or for the slide to transit or transition automatically, you click on after, turn off on mouse click, and then choose the seconds for which it should take before the next slide comes, right? If I click on 5 seconds, then I click on apply all, right? Go back to the next slide. You realize that, sorry, it has changed from on mouse click to after, and then the duration has changed to 5 seconds. Now, if I play the slideshow, after 5 seconds, I can click. If I don't click after 5 seconds, it will change. Do you understand? Yes, so that is all for after. I prefer to use after rather than on mouse click, right? Sometimes the presentation you may not necessarily need a mouse, or it will not necessarily be a laptop presentation, right? It would have to be a presentation where you present on a screen, not your laptop. So if you do your settings to on mouse click, you will require a mouse to click it before it plays, which will not work. So I normally use after, and then I set my time. So after a certain seconds, after a certain number of seconds, it should change. You understand? Yes. So that is all for the transition tab. Very simple, very short, very concise, right? After this video, the next video I'm going to be teaching you how I did the animation I spoke about earlier. It's very simple, yet you have to pay attention or focus to be able to get it. The slightest mistake, you will not get the result you are looking for. So that is all for this video. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your support. I believe you've enjoyed this video. I believe you've learned something. You may not necessarily like to use PowerPoint, but at least you can like my video. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and share to anybody who think will also find this insightful. Till then, bye bye.